Good day, Sir Rick Colete. This is the continuation of the Group 6 report. We will tackle about gathering and preserving and analyzing evidences. The arsonists expect the fire to destroy all of the evidence, and sometimes it doesn't destroy most of it. However, the investigator who digs hard enough many times comes up with evidence where seemingly none exists. The cause of fire should be investigated shortly after the fire is extinguished. Otherwise, very little can be done afterward, be map up and salvage operation. This is a crucial stage in detecting and investigation of arson because cases rely on evidence that is recognized to preserve at this point. Yes, it's very crucial in this part that we know we able to know the cause of fire, because maybe it is done by an arsonist or it is a barely accident. And then let's move on to finding and preserving evidence. As in all other investigations, only one person should pick up, mark, and package all evidence, and special care should be taken to maintain the chain of custody. There are some special problems in arson investigation due to the types of accelerants that may have been used. The predominant type of container used preserve physical evidence from arson scene are the unused metal paint can. These containers are vapor type and unbreakable plastic bags, while convenient and inexpensive, are easily punctured, are chemical attack by some types of evidence, and allow the loss of some volatile evidence by diffusing through the bag. It is necessary that only one person should pick up some evidence of the scene, because to avoid the contamination of the evidence, the alteration, and the dignity of the evidence should be preserved, and also the integrity of the evidence. And then let's move on to time delay device. Delayed action is achieved in setting incendiary fires by the use of certain chemical, electrical, and chemical devices. They usually involve matches, candles, electric heat elements, batteries, and clock mechanisms coupled with flammable liquids or chemicals that will spontaneously ignite after a short delay. If none of these evidences are found, the device, which should be various containers for them, and the arsonist uses these delayed types of device to establish an alibi. So the first thing you should analyze that where did the fire origin, or where did the fire start, so that we can find the evidence or what does really happen. Sometimes arsonists put this delayed device just like putting chemicals for them to be not be caught by the fire investigator, but usually it is being caught because it is very not similar that the arsonist commits a fire than the accidental issue. The accidental issue cannot be determined by can be determined by the fire investigator. And then let's move on to conditions of doors, windows, furniture. In cases where building has burned to the ground, the hardware of doors and windows remain. They fall straight down unless moved by the water stream of firemen. This may tell whether a door or window was opened or closed. Metal parts of furniture may tell whether or not furniture has been moved from the building before the fire. Ashes may give the crime on something to work with. For example, if intensive furniture has been moved from the house prior to the fire, the expensive furniture moved in, the crime lab can tell from the ashes. Evidence of broad fires should be carefully examined. This is a tremendous problem and should remain uppermost in the mind of the investigator. And then let's move on to burn indicator. Burn indicators are the effects on materials of heating or partially burning, which are used to indicate various aspects of fire, such as flammable liquids and point of origin. Interpretation of burn indicators is a principal means of determining the cause of fire. Although burn indicators are widely used to establish the causes of fire, they have received little scientific testing. Some of the burn indicators use the following: alligator effect, checking the charred wood, giving it the appearance of alligator skin. Large rolling blister indicates rapid intense heat, while small flat alligator ring indicates low heat. Crazing of glass, formation of regular cracks in glass due to rapid intense heat, while small possible fire accelerant. Depth of chart, depth of burning wood used to determine length of burn and thereby locate the point of origin of the fire. Line of demarcation, boundary between charred and uncharred material. On floors or rugs, a puddle-shaped line of demarcation is believed to indicate a liquid fire accelerant. In the cross section of wood, a sharp distinct line of demarcation indicates a rapid. And then let's move on to olfactory detection. Gasoline is a complex mixture of chemical compounds, the proportion of which vary with the source of the crude oil and the type of process used in its manufacture. The sensitivity of the human nose of gasoline vapor appears to be on the order of 1 part per 10 million, so that the nose is not sensitive. Another problem called olfactory fatigue is the tendency of the nose to lose its sensitivity to an odor after the prolonged or intense exposure of it. Further, the odor of fire accelerant may be masked by other strong odors, such as that of burnt debris or ammonia. In fact, in one case, arsonists attempted to camouflage the presence of gasoline by mixed vanilla with it to mask the odor. Finally, it may be inconvenient or impossible to search for accelerant odor with nose along with certain types of detector equipment. And debris. Examine the fire debris and the floor in the following manner. Number 1. Conduct a detailed search of the debris. Number 2. Complete clean the floor on the debris and char dust. Number 3. Carefully reconstruct and replace furnishings and other articles in the original position by using burn pattern and corresponding protected areas. And lastly, examine the floor covering and floor for significant patterns. And then let's move on to furnishing. Examine fire damage furnishing such as upholstered furniture, couches, chairs, beds, etc. There are two general types of burn pattern. Burn pattern that involves a surface burning of the item. Burning patterns involve deep penetration of one portion with corresponding collapse of springs and frame destruction. Types of furnishing: upholstered furniture, television set and table radios, drapes and curtains, kitchen range. And then let's move on to fire report. Fire reports of all fires, regardless of size, should be completed. Number 1. Time of incident. Number 2. Location of incidents. Number 3. Size of nature of fire. 4. Fire involvement. Number 5. Fire department plant response. Number 6. Injuries and fatalities. 7. Fire time extinguished. Number 8. Most probable cause. Number 9. Follow up and corrective action required. This report is very important. It should be clear and precise and be more specific, because reports are varied by who is making the report. It should be specific so that the report will be clear. And then let's move on to basic investigation. Purpose: to determine what property was damaged. Second, to what the causes of reasons were. Number 3, number of extent of injuries and fatalities. And last, the recommended corrective action to prevent reoccurrence. And technical investigation: it is an in-depth investigation to determine more specific details of the causes and effects and to establish necessary corrective actions. Reason in conducting technical investigation: number 1, there is no suspicion of arson in connection with any fire. Second, there is no suspicion of negligence or violation of regulations. And the third, the cause of any fire should be undetermined. And lastly, there is evidence of negligence or mismanagement in the fire suppression or rescue operation. Number 5, loss of life or disabling the results of fire. And then let's move on to arson investigation. The direct result of the basic or technical investigation, or it may be brought about from outside knowledge. Character traits of qualified arson investigation: he should be possess knowledge of investigative techniques. He should have an insight of human behavior. He should have first-hand knowledge of chemistry of fire and its behavior. And lastly, he should be resourceful. So these are the traits of an arson investigator. And then photographing the fire scene. The use of photographs to document much of the evidence and support the observations, opinions, and conclusions the investigator's findings. Photographing the exterior. For one, from all sides or at least opposite corners of the buildings to show the overall degree of fire damage and the locations of various entrances and windows. Second, the location of the building to neighboring buildings or the firefighting access areas. Third, any object which may be material to the circumstances of the fire. Last, types of tracks, footprints, and the location of explosion debris are photographed in close detail as well as from the distance. Then, photographing interior. Photographs of interior of a building are generally more difficult for the interviewer to interpret than the exterior photographs, as the interior surface are usually burned and covered with a layer of soot. Point of entry and security of building. Fire bridge personnel will usually give an account of the security of a building as they found it. Where to photograph? Number 1. The doors should be first photographed in the position in which they were found. The second, the burn patterns and soot deposits around the door and the door frame should be photographed as they normally ascertain and position of the door at the time of the fire. Third, any parts of the door or lock which may have been dislodged as a result of some types of forced entry should be photographed at the location where they were found and later reconstructed at their original position. On windows, the position at the time of the fire should also be determined and the evidence used of such an evaluation should be photographed. Second, the position of the window frames in case of a sliding aluminum window. The position of the falling glass could both indicate the position of the window and the time of the fire. And fourth, the smoke and heat patterns above the window can also indicate the position of the window at the time of the fire should also be photographed. And last, window locks should also be recovered on photograph. Importance of photograph in arson investigation. Without evidence, arrest of the prosecution of an arsonist is extremely difficult. Photography is an effective tool in recording and preserving the evidence of set fires. Much of the actual evidence may be destroyed during the firefighting, or it survives the fire. It may be impossible to preserve. Photography in arson investigation. The purpose to show the areas in which the fire started or was set. Second, help identify spectators. An arsonist often remains to watch the fire. Third, provide information about the spread of combustion and direction of spreading. Fourth, show the progressive stage of burning and firefighting from various angles. Fifth, help investigator determine the type of materials burning. And lastly, give the particular attention of the most burned charred areas. And then let's move on to laws of arson. This unit will present the point out what are the reasons that contribute the spread of fire. There are three principal causes of fire, namely men, women, and children. This statement still has considered significance because most of the more than 1.25 million building fires that occurred every year in UN and Asian countries, particularly Philippines, are caused by human errors, either omission or commission. In the Philippines, under the ILG or PNP, the Bureau of Fire Protection and Public Safety is the main government agency responsible for the prevention and suppression of all destructive fires on buildings, houses, and other structures, forests, land transportation vehicles and equipment, ships or vessels docked at piers or major seaport, petroleum industry installations, plane crashes, and other similar incidents, as well as the enforcement of fire code, and other related laws. It has the major power to investigate all causes of fire and necessary file the proper complaint with the proper authority that has jurisdiction over the case. RA 6975 Section 54. Point of origin of fire. Initially, the important point to establish is the point of origin of fire, or what particular place in the building the fire started. This may obtain or established by an examination of witnesses by the arson investigator, by inspection of the debris at the fire scene, and by studying the fingerprint of fire. This is the most important thing in fire investigation. Point of fire leads the investigator to have a point of view about the causes of the fire. For example, chemicals and faulty wirings. They can be, if you can find the point of origin of the fire, you may be able to know what are the causes of the fire. The fingerprint of the fire. This occurred during the free burning stage of the fire, or when it undergoes pyrolysis, decomposition, or heat gases move upward on the walls, leaving burnt pattern. Witnesses must be questioned as to his identity, what attracted his attention, what time of observation, the time of observation, his position in relation to the fire at the time of observation, exact location of the blaze, the rapidity of or the speed of the spread of fire, color of the flame, and odor, if he or she is in position to observe this, size of intensity, any other persons in the vicinity seen by witnesses. Not fire setting mechanism, matches, candles, electric system, mechanical means, chemical methods. And let's move on to motive. This pertains to the arsonist. Fires are set by a person with motives. Those with the desire to defraud defraud the insurer, employees, or such other persons who has grievances. Those with the desire to conceal evidence of crime. Those who set fire for purposes and intimidation. That was the first person. And the second person, without motives, those who are mentally ill, pathological fire setters, pyros or pyromaniac, and psychos. The second person pertains to mentally ill person. In determining motive, the arson investigator must concentrate on three major factors, namely point of origin, modus operandi, and beneficiaries. Indication of color of smoke and fire. As you can see in the table, smoke of color of smoke, material and substance. Black smoke with deep red flame. Petroleum products such as tar, rubber, plastic, etc. Heavy brown with brown, red flame, nitrogen products. White smoke with bright flame, magnesium products. Black smoke with red and blue, green flame, asphalt. Purple flame, purple, violet flame, potassium products. Greenish yellow flame, chloride or manganese product. Bright reddish yellow flame, calcium products. So these are the smoke colors and materials on substance. And let's move on to arson. It is the intentional or malicious destruction of property by fire. The legal aspects of arson fire investigation. Number 1, it is concern of the fire investigator to prove the malicious intent of the offender. Intent must be proved, otherwise no crime exists. Second, the law presumes that fire is accidental, hence criminal design must be shown. Third, fire caused by accident or criminal design must be shown. And lastly, fire caused by accident or negligence does not constitute arson. The basis of criminal liability in arson. There are 4 kind of character of the building burned. Location of the building, extent value of the damage. 4, whether inhabited or not. Destructive arson is committed by burning of the following: any arsenal, shipyard, storehouse, military installations, powder of fireworks, factory, ordnance, storehouse, archives, or general museum of the government. Any passenger train or motor vehicles in motion or vessel out of ports. In an inhabited place, any storehouse or factory of flammable or explosive materials, and any theater, church, cockpit arena, or other buildings where meetings are held when occupied by numerous assemblage. There are other forms of arson: setting fires to any buildings, farmhouse, warehouse, hot shelter, or vessel in port, knowing into be occupied at the time by one or more persons. And then let's move on to PD number 1613, amended by the law on arson. Special aggravating circumstances in arson: number 1, if committed with intent to gain; second, if committed with the benefit of another; third, if the offender is motivated by spite or hatred town owner or occupant of the property burned; if committed by a syndicate or 3 or more persons. Prima facie evidence of arson: if the fire started simultaneously in more than one part of the building or establishment; if the substantial amount of flammable substances or materials are stored within the building not necessary in the business of the offender nor for house use; if the gasoline, kerosene, petroleum, or other flammable or combustible substances or materials soaked therewith the containers, therefore, or any chemical, electrical, chemical, or electronic contrivance designed to start a fire, or ashes or traces of any of the foregoing are found in the ruins or premises of the burned building property. Fourth, if the building or property is insured for substantial more than its actual value at the time of issuance of the policy. Fifth, if during the lifetime of the corresponding fire insurance policy more than 2 fires have occurred in the same or other premises owned or under the control of the offender and or insured. Sixth, if shortly before the fire is substantial portion of its effect insured the store in a building of property had been withdrawn from the premises. And lastly, if demand for money or other valuable consideration was made before the fire in exchange for desistance of the offended for the safety of the person or property of victim. That's all for my report. Thank you.